Hey, how's it going, everybody? Sarasota Tim, coming to you from inside the Crasher here in beautiful Sarasota, Florida. This is another video that's an update on Johnny Vegas. And some of you watching me are new to my channel and you may not know Johnny Vegas. While I traveled across the country here recently, I met a lot of my subscribers and I met some really, really good friends that turned out to be beyond friends, like brothers. And Johnny Vegas is right up there with a few others that I've had the pleasure of meeting and spending some time with. And Johnny Vegas is a 66-year-old man that lives in Las Vegas. And he had a heart issue about 13 years ago. And he got a pacemaker put in. And I shared on a video just the other day, an update. A lot of people are interested in what's going on with Johnny Vegas. And it's not so good. This video is a very disappointing, unpleasant video to make. But there is possibly, and I would like to think there's going to be, a very good, bright side to it. Because I'm hoping and praying, and you'll be hoping and praying, that all will end well in the end. So here's the deal. He got the pacemaker, and then a couple of days ago, it started acting up. His heart had a problem. So he went to the doctor and they released him and sent him home. And sure enough, like the next day, when he was at the cardiologist, his doctor that he has known for 18 years, it malfunctioned again and he started having an episode right in the doctor's office. The doctor himself wheeled Johnny Vegas in a wheelchair from his office, which is next door to emergency, personally, and took him to emergency. Johnny Vegas has been in emergency and went to ICU for about 2 days now. And so immediate tests are being done because he's in an emergency state and he's in ICU. So the tests were done and a very hard conversation, a very direct diagnosis came back today from his cardiologist. And before I go any further, I would just like to say that I love Johnny Vegas, and Johnny Vegas loves a lot of people, and a lot of people love him. He is a very, very beautiful soul, and you know, we wish the best for him. And he shares all this personal stuff with me, and being a good Catholic, he is a God-fearing, God-believing man. He has asked for prayers. I asked him the other day before I made the video, should I share any of this to get prayers? He says, share it all you want. I need all the prayers I can get. I'm asking for prayers. He called me asking for prayers. And I told him, I said, we did a video. And he goes, yeah, I know. I saw all the wonderful comments and I answered each and every one personally. So today, Johnny calls me. I've talked to him a couple of times already. And the doctor said, your heart is no longer good. It really isn't any good. You need a new one. You need a heart transplant. And when I heard this, my heart dropped for Johnny Vegas because that was the saddest thing. And he's like me, you know, he's an emotional person. He's not a tough guy, you know, and it's very scary. Think about putting yourself in his shoes. Walk in his shoes for a minute and a doctor tell you that your heart, your motor, your main gizzard is bad. And so he said, it's not good, Tim. And I said, well, what is it? He says, the doctor says I need a heart transplant. Now, I was under the impression that these are things you get on a list for, you got to wait for, all of these things. Well, this is the good part of it. And I would like to think that the prayers that we asked for the other day have been answered. And the doctor, rather than saying, you're good, give it a little while longer, take a chance, told him that he needs a new part. Rather than saying, just go home and you know, keep working with what you have. And then he dropped dead in his sleep at the mall where he walks every day, 2 miles. He's been doing it for 13 years. Because when the doctor told him he needed a a pacemaker 13 years ago, he follows the rules. He follows the doctor's orders. He walks religiously. I mean, it's got to be something to stop him 2 miles every day. So, he told me that the doctor said he needs a heart transplant. And the good news, if any, is here's what you do. And this is what I want to share with you that he has shared with me. And I don't know if I mentioned a minute ago that, you know, he has given me complete permission to share everything I'm about to tell you. I'm not going to tell you where he will go or might go or anything like that, because they actually do these things, I was surprised to know, at several places around the country. In California and Utah and Nevada even, probably Georgia, everywhere. They do heart transplants. It's almost routine. However, when you get a heart transplant, you have to be in the hospital a month or two. And someone, a family member, a coworker, or a neighbor, or your spouse, somebody has to be with you at the hospital and stay there with you the entire time in case something happened. And see, the reason they keep you is because they want to make sure that everything they put together will work. So they test it and check it and monitor it every single day until they're confident that you can go back out and live your rest of your normal, healthy life that he hopes to have. So to get a heart transplant, you actually go to a team of doctors in San Diego, Los Angeles, Utah, Atlanta, anywhere, Las Vegas, anywhere you go, and they do an evaluation. And they don't just give them to anybody. If your heart, and I understand that when we're born, our hearts don't operate 100%. I think Johnny told me they're only like 50 or 60% when you're a baby. So when he told me he only had 20% of his heart working, I thought, wow, that's really low from 100%. But apparently hearts don't really ever, you know, work 100%. I don't understand it, but I'll move on. So, but when you get down to 10%, you're pretty much bedridden and you're pretty much ready for a heart transplant. And so his doctor told him today, and I quote, "You could die tonight. You could die a year from now. You could die tomorrow. You know, you could die in your sleep tonight. That pacemaker stops or has to do something and your heart stops for a certain period of time, you know, you're done." And so he's living with this fear and this thing. And so when you go to get checked out by this team of doctors that do the, what did I just say it was, orientation or whatever it is, they test you. They will get a specific number of what your percentage of your heart is and determine, hey, you're going to get one Monday, or hey, you're good for another 2 or 3 months. They only give these because there's only so many, but there's not a waiting list. They can give it, but they don't want to give it to a person. Let's say your kidneys, your liver, and other organs are bad, and your body has a great chance of rejecting the heart. They don't want to, it's kind of cruel to say like this, but, you know, not give it to you, but give it to somebody that has a better chance. But I guess in all reality, that's how they determine if you get it or not. And so that's what they'll be doing. They'll be checking him out, testing his heart, and determining how bad it is. According to his cardiologist, it's shot, and the pacemaker cannot be relied on. So he needs a heart. So what do? So you go get the evaluation, and then they say, go home, like I just mentioned, or we'll do it Monday. And then someone has to be with him the entire time. So that's the latest on Johnny Vegas. I don't want to be a downer, but Johnny actually told me when he hung up, because of what the doctor told him. He says, "Tim, I love you, and if I don't talk to you again, I'll see you on the other side." And I mean, I don't want to hear that. I think that the prayers that were put out for Johnny Vegas were answered. I think the doctor said, instead of him going home and maybe something like that happening, you know, that he could die in his sleep or something, that he needs a heart transplant. And that means he gets a new one, and he gets another extension on life. So this is an update for those that know Johnny Vegas, or even if you don't, and you would care to send out a prayer. If you comment in my comments, he reads them and he answers each and every one. So go ahead and feel free to send those prayers right up. Keep crushing them. He even told me on a positive note, I got a landscaper outside, so I'll end the video. He says, I'll get my new heart and then I'll be back to crushing it.